Ladies and gentlemen,
how we doing? We are back. Your friendly degenerates are back at their friendly local card room, Texas Card House, running up some 1-2 after work and before work in the morning, the usual plan, a 4-hour session today.
Your favorites, Brad, Owen, and Andrew Nemi will be here tomorrow. They might be one of your favorites, but we will also be here, so be looking out for us.
Jack doesn't realize that by the time this video's up, that has already happened, so that announcement doesn't really matter, but, you know, it was probably a fun time.
Today's June 6th. It's the day before Brad, Owen, and Andrew come in. We're excited. We're playing Texas Card House 1-2 session, buying in for $300. Speaking of awesome poker tournaments, we have a summer main event coming from World College Poker. Make sure to go sign up. Free register, free buy-in. Let's do it.
Let's play some cards.
July 24th, that's when tournament starts.
We're running well.
Whew.
As a vlogger, people try especially hard to get in hands with us. Maybe they're playing a little extra loose. Anyways, we always try to take advantage of that. There's a straddle of $5, under the gun +1, limps for $5. With ace-queen offsuit, I make it $25 to go. Folds back to the under the gun +1 straddler who rips it all in for $102. This guy can be doing this potentially with ace-5 suited as a bluff, maybe ace-10 and ace-jack for value that we dominate, and then of course he could have small pocket pairs, which we are slightly behind, but it's about a coin flip. For that reason, I do make the call. Let's go to a run out. The board comes 8-5-3, not sure where we're at yet. The turn's an 8, the river's no help, it's another 8. He flips over pocket 4s for a small full house, and we lose the first hand of the night. Oh well. Try to battle back now.
Early on in the session, we look down at a beauty, ace-queen offsuit in the +1 position. Under the gun opens it to $12. I decided to 3-bet here, hoping to get in an isolated pot heads up in position, so I 3-bet to $35, and he is the only one that makes a call, so plans go accordingly, and the flop is a nice one. 6-3 queen with 2 spades and 1 heart. We flop top on a pretty decent board. I have no spades in my hand, so when he checks to me, I think this is a great board to bet for value. I bet $45, and he quickly makes the call, hoping he has some sort of weaker queen. The turn is the 7 of clubs. The only hand that really gets there is 4-5. He checks to me, and I think this is safe to continue betting for value, so I bet $85. He goes into the tank and ends up showing me king-queen offsuit and lets it go. What a hero fold by this guy. Very impressive. He was able to lay that down. And I definitely missed out on some value because we could have gotten stacks in there this hand. On to the next one.
For the next hand for me, I'm in the hijack. I look down at pocket jacks. The low jack limps for $2. I raise it up to 15. The button calls, the low jack calls, off to a flop 3 ways, which comes King Jack 8 rainbow, perfect board for us. When it checks to me, I bet $20. The button folds and the hijack calls. We're heads up. The turn is a 5 to complete the rainbow board. It checks to me once again. And let's think about sizing, and this is why it's so important to know your player. This player's an old man coffee. If I bet too big, he's gonna fold his small kings with a bad kicker. So now I only bet $40, which is about twice as much as my first bet. And the hijack strings along. He makes the call. Perfect. The river is a 3. I'm not scared of anything. He checks to me once again. I size up to $75, which makes sense for the pot. It makes sense for how my betting has progressed on the 3 streets. And the hijack player makes the call. He flips over king-queen offsuit. Yes, this hand played out pretty traditionally, but I really like my bet sizing to extract max value against this type of player. Good win, off to the next one. Already made back the first hand's L.
Next one for me, we got king jack offsuit on the button. +1 limps, the cutoff limps, and I decide to open this one up. I bet $15 on the button. The big blind +1 and the cutoff make the call, so we're going to a flop 4 ways in position though. Flop is pretty good. It's 10-9 king with 2 hearts and 1 spade. I got top pair and a gutter on a pretty juicy board. Checks over to me, and although I definitely can be betting for value here with my top pair and a gutter, I decide to check here. This is a board that I might get check raised on a lot. My opponents can already have me crushed in a lot of scenarios. Queen jack, pocket 10s, pocket 9s, king 10 and king 9 are all definitely in their range, as well as some heart draws can try to bluff me off this by putting in a check raise, and getting check raised on this board would be a pretty gross spot. So I actually decide to check here, planning to bet on most turn cards. Turn is one of those cards that sees 7 of clubs, pretty much a dud. Checks over to me and I bet $40 here, feeling pretty safe about my hand. The only person who calls is the +1 position. The river now is the 3 of hearts. It completes the flush draw. My opponent is a very straightforward player. He's got $100 in his stack, and he leads out here for $50 when the hearts complete. I expect him to have a flush a bunch of times here. I expect him to also have some sort of straight where he feels like he missed out on value by only calling the turn and decides to lead out on the river relatively small. My hand is pretty much just a bluff catcher at this point, and if I expect my opponent to never be bluffing in this scenario, I think this is just a fold. I know it sucks and I'm getting a great price, but I don't really expect him to donk lead without anything besides a flush, a 2-pair, or some sort of straight that didn't raise me on the turn. I let my hand go, let out a sigh, and he mucks his cards. We never get to see what he had, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This was a very, very straightforward and quiet player. I don't expect him to ever be bluffing.
First hand for me is King 7 of diamonds in the big blind. Not a great hand. We got 3 limps. Cutoff makes it $10. The small blind calls, I call, and 2 of the limpers call. Can probably fold this pre-flop, but I saw the limpers were going to make the call, and I figured my pot odds were decent here. That's why I called, as played, 5 ways to a flop, which comes King 8-9, 2 hearts and a diamond. We flop top pair with a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. It checks to the pre-flop raiser in the cutoff, who c-bets for $40, which is a pretty big bet. Gets to me, and I don't think we can fold yet. I mean, we got what we wanted, right? But this is what happens when you play these tricky hands like King 7. I call, and the under the gun player calls as well. 3 of us go into a turn, which is the Queen of Diamonds as we further get roped in. Our flush draw is now live, and it checks to the pre-flop raiser again, who makes it $100. Now we're sitting with a pair and a flush draw, and I make the call again, and under the gun calls as well, further improving our pot odds. But you got to think, like, are our outs even live? Like, who knows? The river, it bricks. It's the 10 of hearts. The front door flush gets there now. Checks to the pre-flop aggressor. He bets all in, $190. Nothing to do but fold here. Under the gun folds, and he shows a king. And that's the end of this hand, guys. You see, we get just roped into continuing and continuing when I think we could have just folded pre-flop and avoided this sticky situation altogether.
Just as things start to get good, we had a great hand with pocket jacks to put us in the black. The dealer changes, which means we have a bomb pot coming up, $5 in the middle without seeing our cards, and going to get 2 boards.
It's Rosie from NextGenPoker.
The first board comes Queen 4-5 2 hearts. Second board comes 8 Queen 9 2 spades. I actually no longer play bomb pots because of this hand, so let's relive it together in all of its misery and full transparency as well, like we always do on NextGen. So I would fold if someone bet on these 2 boards because, you know, we don't really have much, but action actually checks through. The turn on the bottom board is a jack of spades and the 5 of diamonds on the other. Again, I would fold if someone bet, but no one bets. It checks through again. The rivers come a 10 of diamonds on the bottom board and a queen of diamonds on the top. So I have a set. It checks to me. I'm under the gun +1. I think I can get value from a set, right? No one really seems to have much here on these 2 boards. So I bet $35 for value. And then the most aggressive player at the table who flew all the way in from Illinois for a Brad Owens meetup game, who's playing tons of hand blind and trying to get on my vlog especially, he raises it up to $130. So I really don't give him credit for anything. And like I said, I got a pretty good hand on both boards. I'm ready to call him, but then the small blind rips it all in for $325. This player seemed to know what he was doing, but he just sat down, so I don't really know. And I think, okay, well, I'm going to split the loose player who definitely tried bluffing, because, you know, no one bets until the river. It looks pretty weak when I bet. I thought, okay, I'll chop up the money most likely with this guy who just ripped it all in and split the bluffer's money. So I go all in here, and the other guy calls. That's not good. We're 3 ways all in. On the bottom board, the player who raised to 130 initially and then called, who I thought was bluffing, has ace-king for a straight, which beats my set. So we are not winning that board. We're not winning on that board. The other guy has ace-7 of diamonds for a nut flush on the top board. We're also not winning that board. So we get scooped, very sad, and lose all of our profit and more for the night.
Next hand for me, we got my co-star and his twin brother, 2 jacks in middle position. I raise it up to $15 and we see calls from the cutoff and the button. We're going 3 ways out of position to a flop, which comes 10-8-7 all spades. I do have the jack of spades and I do elect to c-bet for $30. In hindsight, I think this board might be a little too wet to do this multi-way out of position. Nevertheless, that's what happens. We see a call from the cutoff and a raise from the button to $115. Won't be getting too sticky with my overpair here. I make the laydown, and the cutoff calls. What ends up happening, guys, they get it all in on the turn. The cutoff has the ace of spades, and the button holds with pocket tens for a flop top set. On to the next one.
We got a love-hate relationship with the next hand, the ladies under the gun position. Oh boy, ladies, please do not let me down again. I go $20 and we'll switch on over to Rosie's view. He looks down at deuces in the cutoff and makes a call. He decides $20 is plenty fine to try to stack me with a set. So he makes a call and the button decides to 3-bet us here to $65. He was a really aggressive player. He actually came over from the 2-5 game. So he moved over not too long ago, has been 3-betting absolute garbage all night, making that very clear as well. He's been showing them down. So I'm happy to get my stack all in there right now pre-flop. I rip it all in for 2.5 Benjamins, $250. Rosie decides that is too much to call with his ducks and he lets him go. And the button quickly calls. We will cut to real-time audio and let you guys listen in to what happens next.
Just jammed him.
I call.
Call.
Do you want to run a multiple? It's up to you.
Since you asked, sure.
How many times? I'm cool with whatever.
Twice is fine, man. I got garbage.
We got 8-9 offsuit. Here we go. There's a 9. There's an 8. Hopefully.
You're not going to be good on that one.
Drop it up.
If you didn't ask, it'd only been ran once.
Run it twice. Run it twice.
So we end up running it twice. Thank God we did because he hits 2-pair on the first board, but we boat up on the second board and end up chopping the pot. If we'd ran this once, I would have lost my whole stack, and that would have not been chill against 8-9 offsuit. So happy that we ran it twice and chopped this one up. Thank you, ladies, for only letting me down 50% of the time here.
Things are not going great for NextGen at all. I just took a long walk after getting stacked in that bomb pot. Everyone sees me come sit back down, probably with a relatively angry look on my face, as I look down at pocket jacks once again in the small blind. The loose player in middle position raises to $10 blind. He does not look at his cards. The hijack and button call this blind bet, and now I raised up to $50, like I said, in my first hand back. Probably looks pretty bluffy, not gonna lie. Middle position calls and the rest of the players fold. We're heads up versus the player who called blind. Flop comes queen 2-5. Now, a lot of people might check here with an overcard. I think I can still get value from this guy. And like I said, I want to look bluffy. I bet $75 playing into my image. And middle position gives me a stink eye and calls. Okay. Going off to a turn, pot is big. Turn is a 9, so it doesn't really change too much. And now I think the only thing that can look bluffy and get called is a bet that's all in. So I put the remaining amount of chips that I just bought back with, another $200, about $175 exact. And this guy who was a police officer, he was bragging earlier about being able to read people amongst all things. He could read and tell a liar. He looks me in the eyes and says, "I don't believe you," and makes the call. Going off to 2 rivers, we agree to run it twice. They're both diamonds, completing the flush, one giving us a set. Flip over pocket jacks, and guys, we're good. He had 2-4 offsuit, called me down with bottom pair, thinking I had some hand like ace-king, and we get some of the money back, but not quite in the black. Just about covered our losses, so even for the night.
Last hand for me, the twins are back for vengeance. Pocket jacks, this time in the hijack. We see middle position open to $15. That won't be enough. With the 4th best starting hand in the game, we 3-bet to $50. The button cold calls, which is a little sketch, and middle position folds. So we're out of position again with our jiggities. Going to a flop, heads up this time. which comes Queen 7-8 with 2 diamonds and 1 heart. We are holding the Jack of Diamonds. I elect not to c-bet on this board because of that lovely queen out there, and he makes it $75. It's time to think already, which isn't too fun. I'm not really liking that I have the Jack of Diamonds here. This is ideally a card I'd want him to have for some of his semi-bluffs, like Jack 10 of Diamonds, Ace Jack, or King Jack of Diamonds. So I'm going to shift more of his range towards value holdings, which we can't really beat at this point. I make the fold. Sure enough, we are wrong, as we often are in this lovely game of poker. He shows 10-9 of diamonds. So while we were ahead for the time being, he has a lot of equity against us, so still, maybe we saved ourselves some money, but we did make technically the wrong fold at the moment.
Last hand of the session for us, we got ace-9 offsuit on the button, 2 limps to me, and I think my hand's just strong enough to open it up. I go $20, and only the cutoff makes a call, so we are heads up now, isolated pot, in position. Comes 6-3-9, 2 hearts, and a spade. I decide to bet $20 when he checks to me, and he makes the call pretty quickly. The turn is the 4 spades, so now there are 2 flush draws, the spades and the hearts out there, and a few straight draws get there like 5-7. The cutoff now decides to donk bet for $50. This guy had told me recently when he sat down that he wanted to make the vlog. He was a younger guy, and I expect him to be trying to throw in some bluffs against us because of that. When a lot of draws are on the board, what I've learned is a lot of donk bets here often symbolize weakness. I think he can be doing this with absolute garbage, but he can also be doing this with a lot of draws. I don't want to get stacked if I raise here, so I just decide to make the call and hope that on dud rivers he'll continue to try to bluff me. The river is pretty much a dud from what it seems like to me. It is the 10 of diamonds. I don't expect this to connect with him a whole bunch. However, he continues betting. He bets $75 here. I think with the sizing of the pot and the sizing of the bet, I think this is just a pretty much clear-cut call. I've got a really strong hand still, and there are so many draws that all missed. He can be doing this with missed straight draws like ace-5. He can also be doing this with any of the 2 missed flush draws. For those reasons, I think I've just got to call here, see what he has. I toss in the 3 green chips for $75, and he shows me ace-10 offsuit. Not exactly sure what he was doing here. His line didn't really make a whole lot of sense, and I think that's why I ended up having to pay him off on the river. He hit a 3-outer on us. We are in the red now, and it's getting late, so we decide to rack up after this hand and end the night in the red. Oh, and how could I forget this hand to end the night? We got 6-9 offsuit. The cutoff decides to try to raise here. He puts in a green chip, a $25 chip, but I guess that symbolizes just a call if you only put in 1 chip and don't say anything. He gets pretty upset, so I'm assuming he's got a good hand. When it folds to me on the big blind, I decide to check my option with my 9-6 offsuit, and the flop comes 9-4-8 with 2 diamonds. I got top pair with some backdoor straight draw possibilities. I check it over to him. He bets $10, and I make the call. Turn to 7, so we pick up an open-ended straight draw. I check, he bets $20, I make the call. The river is the 10, so we bink it. We got a straight here, but the lower end. If he's got a jack, so be it. I overpop bet here for $85, and he snap calls me, shows me pocket aces like a G. I've got that beat, sir. I got 6-9 offsuit and scoop in this pot. Shout out to Kashi, thank you for that one. And we rack up the night and end up booking a little bit less of a loss than we were going to before this hand. So got a little lucky here. Let's go.
Yo, 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 Jello again the screen. Yo, how we doing, boys?
It's kind of hard when I have to lean over like this.
Texas Card House, yeah, didn't go terrific for the boys. These 3-hour sessions are hard because, I mean, we don't have time to battle back, but I guess I'll start us off. I was the big winner tonight, in for 440, out for 445. Big
profited?
Big winner.
Is that including hourly?
He's saying he's efficient. He's the one that made money here.
I made $5.
Hey, that's way more than I made.
You made money?
That's infinite times more than I made.
Yes, but I played horrible. I mean, like, you want me to tell you I played good when I didn't? I didn't play great. That bomb pot hand, I donked off a lot of money, so that was really stupid.
I lost $312, so I think that's something to be upset about.
I think if you played well, you shouldn't be upset.
I don't know if I played well. That's actually a really good point.
We're about to go over it.
We're going to go over the notes. We'll figure it out. That's why I'm a little frustrated. I'm not sure where the money's coming from, and I think that's something we need to figure out.
The comments will let you know.
Oh, they will. I love you guys.
Except I'm sorry, but we don't care. I mean, I care more about what Rosie has to say and Jill has to say, so we'll talk it out. We'll go over the hand details. Jello?
I was in for 3, out for 248, lost $52.
All right. You were
Why are you
bitching
so pissed?
much.
I wasn't.
You should have heard him complaining in our group chat. Oh my God.
No,
bro.
he wasn't. He was chilling.
Subscribe.
Jello was chilling today.
Yeah, he just need to chill. He
Rosie
hit his
tilt,
3-outer.
camera.
He hit his 3-outer on me, and I lost.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played the bump pod bad. Jello will probably tell me how horrible I played it.
Yeah, I will.
I had second nuts, and I had second nuts and got scooped on both.
It's Rosie from NextGenPoker. We're here for a special announcement on behalf of TCH Live. To celebrate them crossing over 25,000 subscribers, wow, they're going to be adding a special live stream this Friday night, 7 to 11 p.m. at TCH Dallas. And guess what? We're picking the stakes, and it's going to be a 1-3 with a $500 max. We know you're used to seeing those tens of thousands of dollar pots. That's why we wanted to do this stream with TCH Live. The chance for you guys to play in a live stream that you're bankrolled for, that you're comfortable with, to see spots that most typically happen in a 1-3 and 1-2 game that might not happen at these 5-5, 5-10 games, so you can get better at the game yourself. So make sure you're subscribed to TCH Live. Make sure you're subscribed to us. Sign up to play. Let's get better at poker. Let's have some fun. Let's do it.